True scary story. Woman in the trees. My name is Ramiro. Hello everyone. It's a pleasure to welcome you all. I once posted a story about my childhood, but it was never updated. I've since left, so I'll try this. I was stationed up north, in an area roughly near Madera, Chihuahua. My first year in the army. I went there, and I say this without shame, because I had no other choice. I can't say anything more about the location. Absolutely right, of course. But mention the place so they can at least pinpoint it. My mother died when I was 15. My dad, well, let's not even mention him. And the only person I had left was my grandmother, my mother's mother, who lived in a small town in Sonora. As I said, enlisting in the army wasn't a heroic or patriotic act, as it often was for my comrades. It was hunger and need. But she, my grandmother, my second mother, hugged me like I was a chosen glory. My problem, the one I hid from the exams, was in my right ear. A childhood accident. An infection that wasn't properly treated from an animal. Some kind of insect must have gotten into me. The thing is, I can barely hear anything on that side. Almost nothing. And during training, it was, damn. I learned to sleep with my good ear facing the soldiers, so I could turn my head, just enough to give the appearance of fully listening to orders. A soldier who can't hear is a problem, and I couldn't afford to become one of them. It was that first year when I was bullied. Silent nights without lights, when I encountered young sparse churches. What about them? I mean the community? A skinny guy, no older than 20. His mother had also died, and he, like me, was raised by his grandmother. So we hit it off right away. In our very first conversation, we bonded not out of affection, but out of necessity. We were two orphans trying to become a family in this world. In that unit, night shifts were carried out one person at a time. Long shifts, sometimes meaningless. Well, at least most of the time. To be honest, sometimes, because suspicious movements or armed groups were very rare. But overconfidence was even worse. Iglesias had been on duty 2 nights in a row, and this was the second of them. When she started reporting strange things, she didn't ask for help or offer any clues. After announcing the danger, he only quietly said into the radio, "He's up there." Who? A soldier. A woman. We all thought she saw silhouettes, ordinary shadows on the hills, but not even, she insisted. She is wearing a black dress. Where do you see it? In the trees, but not on the ground. It is up there. This is what began to worry the others, because seeing a crow among the branches is one thing, but actually seeing it is quite another. You can see it high in the sky, where only ships, birds, or nothing can reach. After that, he either cannot or did not want to explain anything further. When we met in person, he told us the same thing, as briefly and laconically as before. There was a woman sitting in the forest, and look, even I, whom she trusted much more than the others, was not surprised. He pushed me to tell him something else. He was not supposed to be on duty for the 3rd night, but asked to switch shifts with someone else. He did not want to sleep, or perhaps he could not. At 2 hours 10 minutes in the morning, he returned to... She spoke on the radio. Her voice did not tremble or sound hysterical. It was very even, almost quiet, even quieter than other nights. In fact, the woman is here again. Is she moving? I asked. No, he's just looking this way. He's looking at us. Look toward the camp. Someone asked him from what angle. To calculate visibility. From above. I'm shitting. It's there. In the trees. Which tree is it in? In all of them, were his last words. Then, there was silence. Absolutely complete silence. And nothing more. When we went out to look for him, there was no one. There were no signs of a struggle or anything else going on. We heard nothing else. You had no shots, nothing. There were no footsteps, no sounds in the branches, and we saw no tracks leading into the forest. But above us, up there, in the treetops, there was something. There was Iglesias, my partner, my friend. Iglesias was curled up among the topmost branches of a huge juniper, about 18 or 20 meters high. I didn't measure it, but it was impossible to climb up there. Impossible. It wasn't hanging, or nailed down, or anything like that. Just there, tangled in the branches, as if it had fallen from above. And the tree, it would have stopped it, as if it had fallen from a great height. But the doctor told us he hadn't suffered any fractures from the fall, that it was as if he'd simply been left up there for nothing. Furthermore, it didn't appear to have been attacked or eaten, and nothing was broken. It looked as if the body had been placed there like an upside-down sacrifice, said those who climbed up to carry it down. The body. The official report stated it was an accident. It was lowered silently into the water, and the captain gave the order, "Please refrain from comment." The mass was held without the body, because it couldn't be delivered in time. Grandma never knew in what condition it was found, or where. As far as I know, she knew nothing about it, and neither did I. He could have betrayed the trust of the institution by telling her about it. But what else could he have said? We were given 15 days leave without explanation. A vacation like this, when what the least you should do is rest. While resting, doing nothing but think, and think again. What followed next was neither a chase nor a special patrol. It was something that I find even more disturbing. A strange pattern. Every time we pass through this area, nothing happens. Regardless of the season, dry or rainy, someone has seen her. Never head on, never close, always above among the treetops. Peering. The first time I saw her was on one of the worst nights of my life. She was a terrible face, and not only because of her appearance, a thin, motionless woman in a black dress, her eyes wide open, and in rage, also because of how unnatural it seemed to see a person moving among people, branches, like an animal. Sometimes, as I saw, in a solitary crown. Sometimes, the young people said, she would appear in 2 different places, the same woman. In several places at once, without moving, just staring, as if waiting for the next one, the one who would come after us, someone else, who for some reason drew you the same way churches did. Poor Iglesias. I ordered the bass guitar a year later. Not because of fear, I think the fascist kind, or fatigue. Very strong fatigue. Or maybe I just realized that my grandmother was all I had, and although I was proud of her, I didn't want her to bury another person, a grandson. Iglesias wasn't my blood relative, but he was the closest thing I had to a brother. There's no mention of him that year. No plaque, no barracks named after him. No anything, nothing. In fact, almost no one remembers it anymore. There's only one place on the mountain, where no one is. He wants to stand guard, and not because of what might happen down below, on the ground. But what could you be up there? What could turn you on? The witch, as the younger ones call her. The witch up there in the trees. The witch of cups. When I sleep on my side, I still press my good ear to the door. A habit. They talked about this in therapy. But it's not that. It's that I think about him in the churches. In the brotherhood that bound us. Preserved even in death. In his death. It hurts so much. It hurts so much to think about it. In those last moments when he perhaps hoped that I could help him. When he trusted me, and I couldn't help him. I think about what he must have been through lately. What brought him to where he was the only one who touched this thing, and saw it up close. This woman frightens even the most experienced. And the more she frightens them, the less they want to see in them. Talk about her. The woman of the trees. Have a good rest, and good night everyone.